Good evening. I'm Scott Binsack, and thank you for joining me. Can't believe it's Sunday already. Another week gone. Time is an amazing thing. Just keeps running and running and running, and you never get it back. Tonight, I'm going to be discussing the age-old question, is the grass really greener on the other side of the fence? Maybe some of the younger generation who may be watching this never heard that term, but it was prominent when I was growing up in the 70s. I was born in 1969, and in the village of Westbury on Long Island, New York. And Westbury was a beautiful place then, still is in some major parts, but streets all lined with maple and oak trees, and the grass was always green, and people looked at families, and you looked at them and you're like, wow, I'd love to be part of that family. And I say it like that because underneath it all, it was like Peyton Place. And Peyton Place is a term my grandmother and my mom used to use all the time, where it's like Peyton Place is a place where everybody gathers and gossips. I bring it up because people are always looking at what somebody else has, or the image of what they believe that they have, the facade that they put up. And from the outside, everything looks perfect. And they're like, wow. And they could be in their own situation, and most people are, to where they're in a marriage, a relationship, a job even. This quote goes to everything in life. You're in a marriage, and you're in it for a while, and you look and you see somebody else's marriage, and you're like, wow, why isn't my marriage like that? I want that. So you start seeking someone else that could give you that. Same thing in a normal relationship. Could be with somebody a long time or even a short time, and you're like, well, this is not for me. This person is not who I thought it was, who I thought they were. And I think what I see over there is what I want. So you move on and go over to someone else's house, so to speak, and thus their yard. And their grass is looking greener to you. In some cases, believe it or not, it's the truth. The grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Much greener. And the same thing goes with a job. You could be in a job and you're in it, and you look and you say, well, this job's not for me, or I don't like it here. It gets bad, and you look over to another employer and go, wow, it's better over there. I know it's better over there. I want to go to work over there. A lot of times also, you'll go and jump that fence, and the green yard that you think is green actually is full of weeds and decay. And when you get there, you're like, oh, I wish I could go back to what I had. Meaning, the person, the place, the job, you name it. So, really, is the grass greener on the other side of the fence? It could be. The age-old answer to that, that's stated all over, especially on the internet today, is if you water your own grass, then it will become greener. Water your own grass first. Is that true? My mom used to use this term, do you think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence? If you think the grass is greener. So to speak, my parents got divorced when I was 4, and I was thrown back and forth like a yo-yo until I was 16, and I finally left to go out on my own. During that time, my father, after a major court battle, war of the roses, so to speak, Kramer versus Kramer, I was living with my dad, and my dad got remarried. After he got remarried, there was no place for me. I got tossed over to my mom. And when I was with my mom, my mother would be like, strict with certain things, as my father wouldn't be, or vice versa. And when I rebelled, my mother's answer was, If you think the grass is greener at your father's house, then you go over there. I heard it all the time. It was like drilled into my head. And I ended up back and forth and back and forth. And at times, as a kid and a child, I thought the grass was greener. I could get away with more, as any child would do. When one parent says no, they go to the other parent. Yes, can I have this? This is where parents need to come together and obviously stick to their guns. But that's a whole different subject. And I would believe as a kid, yeah, this is not good living with my mom. I can't do this here, I can't do that. Or my mom, as I stated in other shows, my mother was a bad alcoholic. And my father, on the other hand, was not so much an alcoholic, but he was violent. My dad. He was a cop. And that's not to say all cops are violent, but they brought their job home with them. And even after he retired and wasn't a cop, he was still violent. So it wasn't his job, it was just his nature. So I would go back to my father's, and sure enough, things were worse there. Very much worse. I think that the term today is the grass greener on the other side of the fence goes heavy to relationships and marriages and love, where people are getting married for all the wrong reasons. And then once they're married, or they get involved with somebody in a long-term relationship, or they get pregnant by the person, then they're in a relationship. When they really find out how it is with the person because they got married or together for the wrong reasons, they look across the fence and see somebody else more attractive to them, another yard, another lawn, so to speak, and believe it's greener over there. And in a lot of cases, it is because they got involved in the first relationship for all the wrong reasons. Everybody's looking for love. Comes easy, believe it or not. The word love, I love you, or I love that, this person is for me, I love you. But then when you really get down to it, love is tough. Love takes, and relationships, thus marriages, take a lot of work. Day in and day out, a lot of work. So that's where it comes into play, where they say, well, water your own lawn. In other words, work on your own family and yourself, and your grass will become greener, and there'll be no reason to go over the fence. I don't buy it. Now, do I buy if you say the grass within yourself needs to be greener? Yes. As I push on this show, everything starts from within you. Should you water your own lawn? Of course. Should you deal with your own issues? Of course. Thus the brown spots, the weeds, deal with them. But when you're in a relationship that's bad, and here it comes back to yourself again, if you yourself aren't whole and in love with yourself first, you end up in marriages, relationships that you don't belong in. And then once you're committed and you're into them, and I shouldn't say committed, once you're into them, you want out. And you find out this is not for me. Because you yourself were not whole. Your lawn was not tended to. Now, there's some relationships where you are in love, and you did get married for the right reasons, but your lawn, you let it go. You've neglected it. It becomes nonchalant, meaning day in, day out process, the rat race, and you don't get much time. People don't get much time to spend on themselves and their relationship, and it dwindles. Should you then tend to your own lawn and work hard at your relationship and your marriage? Yes. And you need to work very hard if you're truly in love with the person you're with. And it takes commitment. It takes time. It takes dedication to the other person. Not just selfishness. And this comes in, and communication between both people to make sure that grass is watered all the time. If you don't water grass all the time, if it didn't rain and you have a drought, what happens? It dies. And slowly you'll die. Your relationship and your marriage will die, as will you as a person if you don't water your own grass every day. People seem to think, and that's like they get married, oh wow, this is great. Now it's okay, smooth sailing. No. Now is when the hard work begins. Saying I love you and falling in love and saying I do is the easy part. Or getting a relationship and then you decide you don't want to be married, but you're going to stay together and be together, which a lot of people do today. It's the same thing. Once you move in with that person, it takes hard work. Once you have a child with that person, it's even harder because now you have children to tend to, and the lawn really needs to be green and fertilized. Let's be real. If you don't tend to your own lawn, it's going to die. And people die daily inside all the time. I know. I've been there. I got married for all the wrong reasons. And I did work at it because I had children involved and because I thought it was the right thing to do because she got pregnant, as I've discussed in other shows. And then I found out the child wasn't mine. And then I still tried. And I was no gem. I was a businessman working all the time, trying to succeed. And I did. But success comes at a price. However, I wasn't in love with my wife. I loved her as a person, but I wasn't in love with her. And that's the serious difference between people's grass. Are you really in love with the person you're with? Or are you just with them because you're friends and you got married for the wrong, you got married because it was the thing to do. And this is why I brought up where I grew up. In the 70s, 60s, 70s, back to the 50s, people got married because it was the thing to do at young ages, 18, right out of high school. It was not the college. They got married, had families, the women stayed home, the whole bit. And divorce was like looked at as, and I know my parents were one of the first people to get divorced in our village, the town I grew up in, and it was looked at as like, but two people apart that are miserable together is much better than them staying together for the children and for themselves, as I've discussed previously as well. So let's look at this here a little deeper. The key is to make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure you know the person. Make sure you are solid and true and real with yourself. Everybody wants love, but we all look for love in all the wrong places. Been there too. So here I was in this marriage, get married for the wrong reasons. I don't love her. And yet, believe it or not, I stayed true to her for a long time. She didn't to me. And then I also didn't stay true to her. And we thought we'd try again. And then she got pregnant again with my son, Derek, who's now 18. Something incredible came out of staying in that yard, so to speak. I have a beautiful son. So if you look at it, watering that grass, or attempting to water that grass, got me my son. If I would have just walked away, and we were at a time of separation at that time, I wouldn't have had my son. But at the same time, at that time, I didn't know I was going to have a son. I didn't know she was going to get pregnant. And that wasn't the plan. The plan was I wanted out. I saw a different yard and I wanted to be in that yard. And it was a greener pasture because it wasn't me being with someone I don't love. And it's very difficult because once you're in these marriages and relationships and you have children involved, or even if there is no children, it's still difficult because people are afraid to be alone. But yet they want the grass on the other side. It all comes down to you having to evaluate who you're with at this moment in time in your life. Are you really in love with this person? But you got to be in love with yourself to determine if you're in love with someone else. That's the tough part. And if you do love the person you're with and they don't love you, it's even tougher. And maybe they're looking to jump into someone else's yard. It's a difficult situation. But the old term of, oh, all you got to do is water your own grass and look at it, take care of your own grass and everything will be fine and it'll be greener is not true. And in some cases it is. So now you have to understand which is best for you. It goes the same for, and it's difficult. It's much difficult. However, today, here's the problem. It's very easy for people to get divorced or jump from one person to the other. Very easy. We make it easy. The internet makes it easy. You see someone else, or you see someone more attractive maybe than the person you're with, or you see their life and they have money. And they're like, wow, I want to be a part of that. And I know women and men who deliberately just go and seek to be with somebody for money. They don't care. Really, as long as the yard is green on the outside, they don't care what it is on the inside. I got to be honest, I can't stand that. I can't stand it. Because they're not true to themselves. They're seeking monetary gain, not love and affection and a true life with someone. It's basically using someone. And I've been there. I have many girls who tried to use me for money. And I got hurt along the way when I was much younger. And there's men that do it for wealthy women as well. Today, it's so easy to jump into someone else's yard. And it's done all the time, more so today than ever. Because as I said, it's easy to do that. That's the easy way out. The hard way is to stay, look at yourself, look at your relationship and two people working together to water their lawn. That takes commitment, true love, time, and it's difficult. It's very difficult because when times get tough, a lot of people want to run. And I know I was a runner. When I was younger, I was a runner. And not in business. Not in business at all. As I've discussed on other shows, you give me anything in business, I'll take it, or any life situation like that, I'll smash it. I'll stay there and I will smash it and hit it hard. But relationships or friendships, things got bad or tough for me and I didn't want to deal with it, I ran instead of facing it head on. Because it was easier, and thus jumped to some other grass. And I thought it many times the grass was greener, even as a child, and it wasn't. It was much worse. And then you're in another situation. There you go, you're in another situation where you're like, how did I get here? Well, you got there because you keep doing the same thing over and over again, thinking it's better on the other side, when in fact it's not. As well as I had to look at myself. And I will harp on this. You must look at yourself. You must tend to your own grass. You must figure out what you want, what you love. If you don't love the partner you're with and you got in for the wrong reasons, then be straight with them and get out. But just don't jump to the greenest grass you see. But a lot of people do that. It's easy. And then if they don't like that, they jump to someone else. Jump to someone else. It's not uncommon for people to be married 3, 4 times or be in dozens of serious relationships. They want to call serious relationships and have a bunch of children. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. It's a vicious, bad cycle. All because they don't want to look at themselves. We all get ourselves in the situations and thus the relationships and thus the yard we're in ourselves. No one forced you to be at that house, meaning thus that yard where the grass is. No one forced you to be there. You chose it. And here it is. You make a choice. Nah, I don't like that. I'm moving on to this one. Then I'll move from that one because everything looks greener over there. And you want to know why? It's because you're miserable inside. It's because you don't love yourself. It's because you don't tend to your own lawn. Or you're too afraid, and you have tended to your own lawn and you know you don't believe there, but you're too afraid to get out. You're too afraid. So then, a lot of times, then the extramarital affairs start, or the cheating in relationships start, so that you can compensate for that lawn, that grass that's not green, and you think it's greener over there. So then you have the cheating in the extramarital relationships, and you have a taste of what you think is greener grass. Then when you finally get out of the situation and you move over to that house with that green grass, what you think is green grass, and reality sets in, you're like, wow, where is the person I knew that I was with for 20 years or 15 years or 10 years? And this isn't greener over here. Or you could jump over there and it could be incredible. It could be, okay, I like this. This is good. I'm happy here. I love this person. And I'm glad. A lot of second marriages, even third marriages, turn out to be the best. And same thing with relationships. But why do you want to keep going through the cycle of going through people to find the greenest grass? Do it from the beginning. And I'm going to be honest, my mother, who was the one always saying this, wasn't a good parent. She was a horrible parent. Now, when I was younger, in the child from age 1 to 5 to 6, she was a good mom. But alcoholism and other issues got the best of her. And it was, the grass, for her grass wasn't green to her because she didn't look at her own grass. A lot of people live in denial. My mother lived in major denial. A wonderful woman. I love her. And I was as a child, because of what I suffered and the abuse that I suffered, when you have an abusive childhood, it's not the child's fault. So to a child, when it sees something, what it believes is better over there, or safer, here's the word, safer, over there, they're going to go over there. Now, it may be safer, but it may not be, which is greener, but it may not be what you thought was, so to speak, better as an overall. Might be in a stricter, that parent might be stricter, or that parent might be, underneath it all, it is better, but to the child or the teenager, they look at it as, this is awful, this is, I don't want to follow these rules, I don't want to do this. And if you're a rebellious teenager, sure. And I was rebellious. And then here it was, that same, my mother's same, and my father's same philosophy flowed through into my marriage and relationships. See the cycle? This is the cycle. And sometimes you could have parents that are together. And I'm going to, quick story here. There was a family in my hometown who projected to everyone this perfect, and this person happened to be a good friend of mine growing up. And you go in their house and everything was perfect, and you thought there was no arguing, that these people really loved each other to the fullest. They were like, the Brady Bunch, so to speak. And it's funny, when I was a kid, I even sensed that wasn't the case. And I was quite alert as a child, and even as a teenager, and the older I got, the more I came alert. I'm like, there's something wrong here. This is too perfect. Too perfect. And I remember I had said something to my friend. I said, I think that your dad is cheating on your mom. What? No, that can't be. Can't be. Never, never. Now, the person was the father was a prominent person in the education system. And there was always one particular student coming over to the house. And I kept thinking to myself, I bet you. And the mother was there. They thought, this could never be. Sure enough, it was going on for years and years. A relationship between the father and the student through college and everything. And now they ended up together. He's deceased now, but they ended up together. And it was devastating, especially for the mother, because she believed things were okay. Well, on the outside. Underneath it all, they didn't have this incredible marriage that they presented to the world. And looking at that, you're like, wow. His grass, he thought, was greener with the other person. And he ended up with that person and had the greener relationship. But look at who got hurt along the way. The children, devastated. I remember my friend devastated about that, about his family. As he used to, my family got divorced, and there was divorces in my father's family, heavy. So that was local gossip. And he used to say, well, look, I don't have a broken family, and da-da-da. Needless to say, underneath it all, it was. And yet this person was a major, my friend, was constantly, all he did was do drugs. He had to be in another realm. Constantly. Pot, coke, alcohol. That was his escape. Why was he escaping all the time? My point. Everything is not what it seems on the outside. It's like a job, and the grass could be greener on the other side of the fence. This comes into play with corporations and daily jobs. And a lot of that could be true. You're in a miserable job, you don't like it, you can get, obviously you get a better job. But get a better job for the right reasons. Don't get a better job because you're too lazy in the job you're in now, or they make you work too hard, or maybe you're not think the pay is great, but yet it's a stable job. In other words, I've seen people leave jobs because they see, okay, over here I can get this job and make $25 an hour instead of the $15 I'm making. But the $15 an hour job has medical benefits, it's secure, and the $25 an hour job is not secure. But to them, they see the dollar signs and they see, okay, they don't look at the big picture and thus, again, at themselves and what's really happening here. That's why people are so quick to get in relationships today, same thing, or to jump at something because they think it's so much better. Or they see, wow, look at that. They have this nice car, this nice house, or they're good looking, and I want to be with that person. When in reality, you get with that person or you get in that job and you're like, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. Why? Because you must figure out who you are and thus what you want. You have to set up find out who you are. This is something that took me 35 years to do. I spent most of my life as being in business. Yes, I was the person I wanted to be, but underneath it all, I wasn't the person I wanted to be. I didn't know who I was. I never took the time because of how I grew up and all the things. And whose fault is that? It's mine. I didn't take the time to look at myself and look within myself and say, Scott, you have to find yourself. You have to find yourself before your grass will be greener than anybody's. You don't find yourself by jumping from situation to situation to situation. You don't. That's running. That's running. And you think, well, in this person it'll be better, or in this place it'll be better. Here's another one. People think that if they move to another state or another place, that the grass will be greener there. If you can't make it where you are right now within yourself, and thus here comes the term that I do agree with, water your own grass and feed it, and it will be greener, then it's not going to be greener in Florida on the beach, because you're still the same person you are on the beach. So if you're not yourself and true and real and happy with yourself and know who you are in, we'll say, New York, moving to Florida, you're not going to be any different. You're going to be in a different place, but you're still going to be the same person. Now, if you move because you want to truly use the time and the place to start over and find yourself, fine. But most people look at it as, I'm going to move here and run away from this place. I can't stand this place. I hate it here. I got to get out of here. I got to da-da-da-da-da-da. And believe me, I'm one who said that many times in my life. Now, if I want to leave someplace or don't want to be there, it's because I don't want to be here. It's because I want to move on to something better in my life. My lawn's just green enough. It's fine. It's perfect. Well, nothing's perfect, but I'll keep it watering every day the way I do it and keep building every day and making myself a better person. Because that's what it takes every day to make yourself a better person. And every day, if you're in a marriage and it's faltering, but you love that person loves you truly, then you need to water your grass. You need to water it. You need to work at it. People get lazy. This is the problem. I said it. You say, I love you, I love you, I love you. The honeymoon's over. Pow! Honeymoon's over? Of course it is. Now the work starts. Now the work starts. It's hard work. Life is hard work. You think it's not hard work? And people that says, I can't, the grass is always greener. Look at that. They've got so much money. They're rich. They must be happy. Wrong. I've seen more miserable, wealthy people than I have people who are poor or middle class, etc., who are happy as anything because they have themselves. And they water their own grass. And you will be watering your grass till you die, no matter where you are. But you must water your own grass. You've got to find yourself first. Feed yourself. Take care of yourself, but figure out what you want in life. Figure out what kind of person you want to be with. And if you're going to commit to somebody, commit to them. If you're not happy, then get out of it. But don't just jump into someone else. If you're unhappy in a situation, marriage, relationship, and really unhappy and don't love the person you're with, find out why. In other words, look at yourself. Work on yourself, build yourself up, and don't look for somebody else. I see women and men looking and looking and looking and looking all the time. I'm not saying not to date. I'm saying don't be out there to constantly look to find this person that you're going to be with the rest of your life. Because you're rarely going to find it that way. You'll find it when you least expect it. But only when you true love, when you love yourself. And I hear it. Oh, I love myself. I love myself. Really? Okay. If you loved yourself, you wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. You wouldn't drop your morals and values to seek other greener pastures. We'll leave it at that. I know here's other situations. People have gotten married for convenience. Wonderful. They're married for convenience. They have their own lives. It could be financially. You're with somebody, and right now you know that both people know that they're staying together for financial reasons to help each other out. But they have their own lives. Okay. You're going to be in that situation? Perfect. Don't forget yourself and don't forget to water your own lawn. And you still got to make sure you maintain the lawn in the convenience spot so that it's okay and you can communicate one another. Everything is work. Everybody thinks they're going to get a free ride in life, and they look for that. Sadly, not everybody. A lot of people look for a free ride today. In other words, get rich quick. You're not getting rich quick unless you're scratching off, and that's not going to get you rich quick either, or playing the lottery and hitting it. It's not going to happen. It just won't happen. Everything requires work. Your lawn, a good lawn, what do? Especially, we'll say, a new house, and you just have dirt. You have to prepare the soil, rake it, remove the stones and the rocks. You have to prepare the soil for its acidity level to make sure it's okay with lime and this and that before the grass will even grow. Then you have to seed it, then you have to protect the seed, then you have to water it all the time once it starts to grow. If you do not, it dies. And that's why I like this quote so much. Is the grass greener on the other side? Yes and no. But if your soul's not there, your grass is never going to be green. Never. Looking for love in all the wrong places. And you're not going to find it in what you think is greener in another yard, so to speak, if you're not green yourself. Then once the grass grows, you got to mow it, right? And you got to pull the weeds out. And there's the problems that we go through in life, the weeds. When the problems come up, and this is where people like to really jump the fence, a major problem happens. I don't like this. I don't want to be here. It's safer over there. It's better over there in the other yard over there. And I can see it. I love it. I want it. Then that's when they run. Go over there. They jump over. And man, they look back a little while. They're like, nope, this is not what I thought it was. Why? Because they jumped too fast, first off. First off, it's because they're not in love with themselves and they haven't figured out what they really want. And number two, Once they get over there, they jumped way too fast. They reacted too fast. How do we get diamonds? Diamonds are refined from coal. They're black, and they have to be polished and polished and polished. It's like the grass. You got to keep it green. Remember, my grandfather loved his grass. I love my own grass in my house, and it's just instilled in me from my grandfather, my pop. Oh, did he take care of his lawn? It was a day in and day out project. And even before the winter came, he had to put special fertilizers down, etc., so that when the spring came, and then you have to deal with bugs and this and that. This is the problems. You have to deal with the problems that come in. He didn't just rip the whole lawn up and start all over again. He worked at it, and he worked hard at it to keep it and maintain it green. And it still had problems along the way as much as he worked at it to keep it green. This is the same as your life. It's the same as your life. There's no easy ride, people. Now, can you build a great life where you can relax and enjoy yourself and be in love? Of course. It's done all the time. But more so today, people jump. People are not happy. They want to be on the other side, and they think it's better on the other side. Now, I'm going to say this clearly. It can be much better on the other side because there's many people in very bad relationships and marriages and situations. It's just like, I know, well, we're going to get into the business realm here a little bit quick. People they look at somebody, and especially I'm going to go into this. When I was younger, I became a self-made millionaire at 23, and I worked all the time as a major builder in the Hamptons on Long Island. People looking in were super jealous, haters, because they'd look and they'd go, I want that. I want what you have. Even employees, because I was young, and I had older employees work for me, and I had a lot of good ones, with much respect, I for them and them for me. And I learned that the hard way too, by losing very good people because of how I treated people, being young and cocky and things. But people were always like, I want what you have. Meaning looking over, or another company looks over, even other owners of companies, look at that. I want that. I want that. The grass is much greener over there. I want what he has. People want to start their own business. With success comes a price. With owning your own business comes a serious sacrifice and price. Your entire life is a sacrifice if you think about it. As I just explained about taking care of the lawn, you have to sacrifice one thing for the other to keep maintaining balance and thus keep the lawn watered. But people would look in, and then once they get into that realm of business, they're like, wow, this is a lot of work. I don't want to be over here. I liked it over there where I could just do my 9 to 5 and it's okay. Some people don't have what it takes to do beyond 9 to 5, and it's okay. That doesn't make them bad people. That doesn't make anybody bad. That's who they are. Good, comfortable job. Well, they're paid well. They got benefits. 9 to 5, they go in. They have to work a little extra here and there. Beautiful. They got their family. They go home. They're happy with that. But then those people that have that, so to speak, at the 9 to 5, whatever, and they want more, which is great. That's how we create success. That's how we build America and the world. Competition breeds success. Love it. Let's be competent. Let's be it. However, a lot of people don't understand the sacrifice that goes into owning your own business, or running a business, or being a good employee. Everybody looks to the boss and the higher ups who make a lot of money, and they're like, wow, I can do that. I'm better than him. I can do that. And sometimes it is. Sometimes bosses are horrible. They suck. They shouldn't be there to begin with. They either brown nose their way up there, or God knows what to get up there, and they shouldn't be in that position, period. On the other hand, though, many people worked for that. They earned it. Same thing. You got to earn it. Tend to it. Make it grow. We grow every day. Every day. I said it before in other shows. Don't get comfortable. Relax, enjoy your life, but never get comfortable. There's a thin line. Very thin line. And I did it too. I jumped from person to person for a long time in relationships thinking it was better, when in fact I had to take care of my own lawn first. And I hurt people along the way, and I got hurt along the way because we set ourselves up. It's setting yourself up for failure, is what it is. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's not happening. Until you change you, until you really, the key is find out who you are and what you want. Be that person and you will attract the lawn you want. You will attract that other person and you'll be able to feed it, tend to it, and whatever's thrown at you, you will get through it. But if you don't love the other person, then get out of it. Find out, say to yourself, do I really love this person? Do I really want to be in this relationship? Do I really want this person? And don't be afraid to be alone. Feed that grass of your own. Make it so strong and green that nothing can attack it. Do you, then do you and someone else. Then you do it together because you'll attract somebody whose grass is just as green and forget about it. Pow! You'll be prospering. You'll be happy because you're with a mutual partner. It's easy to say the words, I love you. It's easy to say the words, I do. It takes hard work to truly maintain that. Hard work. People, so many people today shun from work. Everybody wants it easy. I got to stop saying everybody because that's what I mean, and I don't mean it in general that everybody means. I'm saying a majority. And you see it every day. I see it every day. I even have the tendencies myself. Okay, Scott, come on. Don't. This is looks good over there, but that's not what it. No. That's not right. That's not going to work, and you're going to end up in a worse situation. You must take the time and be disciplined to look at yourself. And it takes guts, it takes strength, it takes courage, it takes no fear to look at yourself in the mirror. It's tough. It's tough to look at the situation you're in right now and say, do I want to keep this lawn, trying to keep it green when it shouldn't be, or get out? Or do I truly love this person and do I want to stay here the rest of my life? Because life is short. This is what I mean. Choose wisely. But you can't make the right choices if you yourself are not set to do that. It's impossible. You cannot. And we are what we attract. People don't really, you have to understand that. What we emanate, the energy we put out, is what we attract. If you're a good person, you're going to attract good people. You're also going to attract some dark people when you're so good because people like to take advantage of that. But you're so good and so solid with yourself and your lawn so green that you can spot them a mile away and you stay away from them. That's not to say some weeds don't creep up in there, because they do, but you're strong enough to them when you find out, okay, take it, pull it, toss it aside. End of story and never look back. Plug the lawn up, okay, I'm good to go. That is that. Same thing with your career. You're in a bad job, you don't want to be in there, start looking for a new one. Create your resume. Go find what you're passionate about. You want to start your own business? Make sure you know what you're getting into. Most new businesses fail within the first 12 to 24 months. Why? Because most people jump and they don't plan. And their grass is greener. I want to do this. I want to do that. Or get rich quick schemes and they spend the money. Let me do this. Find out what you truly want to do. Do your homework. Educate yourself. Most of all, fix you. And you will be able to climb any mountain that's thrown in front of you or obstacle that comes your way. You'll climb over it. You'll be able to maintain your grass so green that other people will be looking at like, wow. And when you shine, and people are watching this shine, a lot of people do, when you shine, you know it. And there's nothing going to stop you from shining. People will try. People will try. But the light always, same thing with the grass. You're green. Anything that comes on to attack that lawn, it's not going to kill it. It's going to make it stronger because it's so strength built. Its roots are so good and so solid and well fertilized and well nurtured that nothing's going to stop it from growing and staying green. So the answer, I believe, to the question is the grass always green? Always greener on the other side of the fence? No, it's not. And sometimes it is. But the key to any green grass is the soil, is the foundation of the earth, and constantly maintaining it every day. If you don't do that, your lawn's going to die. And I know people watching this who have probably died inside as a person. They think there's no hope, that there's no future. They have lost somebody, or they're miserable, depressed. You weren't created to be miserable. You weren't created to be depressed. You weren't created not to be happy. We were all created to be happy. But happiness comes with a price. And it's working on oneself and facing oneself and watering one's lawn. Don't just jump to another lawn unless you know for sure that there's no way to fix the lawn you have now. You will know, though. Just look at your partner. You may love them as a person, but are you in love with them? If you're not in love with the partner you're with and it's just a convenience, get out and take care of you. Don't jump to another yard expecting it to be greener, because it won't be. Not until you fix you. Not until you strengthen your own yard. If you're in a job and you're miserable and you want another job, find a better job than the one you have. Take the time. Work. Work. Life is work. Set yourself up. Determine. Write it down. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is where I want to be. Find out who you are. Sometimes, but not sometimes, you have to always search within your soul, within yourself, and take peace. Have some peace. Find some quiet time somewhere and really reflect on yourself. Look around. Is this where I want to be? And I don't care if you have a nice house now or nice cars or it's a financial convenience for you to be with someone. If you're not happy within yourself and where you are, and thus with that lawn, all that doesn't, what does that mean? That's not happiness. And if you think that's happiness, you got issues that you need to look at. Because material things, you could choose in life. You choose to be rich and live in your life, or you choose to be poor. Choosing to be rich doesn't mean you become and drop your morals and your values because you want to live rich. You can be the richest soul and the richest person and the most successful person is the one that has peace within themselves, serious peace. Now, there's a lot of people that can go to sleep at night and close their eyes because they have no conscience and they don't care. That they say, I'm happy, that's it. Why? They don't care about anybody else but themselves. There's a big difference between that and reality. That's a selfish person. And they're really not happy. But to them, that's happiness. That's not happiness. That's not a nice yard. That's not green grass. And remember what I'm telling you. You can look from the outside and you look in the neighborhood and you see, wow, look at that house. Or you know that couple and they look so happy together. Underneath that, a lot of times, it's not what it is. The skeletons are falling out of the closet. Serious stuff goes on there. So not everything is what it seems. That grass doesn't, it may look green. You don't know what's creeping under the soil. Make the right choices. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. But you got to learn from them. I made so many mistakes in my life, and I'm thankful for them. And would I do it all over again? Yes. And I'm man enough to admit them. Major mistakes. Major. And I will continue. None of us are perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. And I used to be the biggest perfectionist. Oh my God. Doesn't exist. Does not exist. No such thing as perfection. Now you can try to be perfect, but that shouldn't be a goal. Trying to do the best that you can and be the best that you can at what you do and in your marriage and your relationship or whatever situation you're in, wonderful. There's no such thing as perfect. Don't try to be perfect. If you're trying to be perfect every day, get that out of your head. There's no such thing. Or you want your kids to be perfect? No such thing. Tend to your own lawn. And don't stay in a yard that's no good for you. And if you are a solid person, but you got married for the wrong reasons at the time and you've grown in that marriage, you've been to them sometimes 25, 30 years. And you know that whole time, most of the time, that you shouldn't have been there, but you stayed out of convenience, out of fear, out of this. Learn to be happy with yourself and at peace with yourself and thus get out of that. Be happy. I'd rather be happy alone than in a situation to where I don't belong and the grass might be green looking on the outside, but underneath it's not. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to not have to jump right over there because it's convenient and it's easy. That's the problem today, as I'm saying. It's too easy. People are like cattle. Here, okay, I'm moving on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You got to remember, people have souls, people have feelings, people have hearts, people get hurt. Words will even hurt people, let alone the actions. Choose wisely. Choose your words wisely. Choose your actions wisely. But it'll become second nature to you if you focus on yourself. And don't live your life trying to please someone else, thus keeping that lawn nurtured because you constantly have to please that person. That's not being happy. You have to please yourself, and then you'll be able to please anybody and be in true love. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody. I don't care what anybody says. You can tell me all you want. I love him, or I love her, I love her. Listen, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. Period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you don't love what you're doing as a profession, you're spinning your wheels. And a lot of times you have to have the job that you have now to earn an income and to support yourself or your family and whatever. That's wonderful. But remember that that's not what you want for the rest of your life. Have the courage to step out of that and start to pursue what you want. Keeping your same job, but start to want your goals. Achieve your goals. Succeed. Success comes with a price. A green grass and a nice yard comes with a price. Hard work. Don't just say it, do it. Don't just say, I love you, and jump out of to looking over the fence and want to jump that fence. If you don't, you can't love someone else again. I'm going to say it again over and over until you love yourself. And if you're in a miserable yard, get out. But don't jump into another one thinking it's greener if you haven't fixed yourself first. Because now you're creating the same thing over and over and over again, and you will get the same results. And then you'll be jumping into over another fence, and then another fence and another fence. And I know I'm not telling you something I haven't done myself. I don't tell anybody anything I haven't done myself. And that's how I've learned. You know, it's hard to get advice from somebody or somebody in a situation who doesn't admit their faults, who hasn't been successful and failed and picked themselves back up again. And I see it all the time. People trying to sell stuff all the time. You want to sell yourself? Well, have you succeeded? Really succeeded within yourself and fallen down and gotten back up and done it again? Fallen down and gotten overcome things? Are you happy with yourself? Tend to your lawns, people. And don't jump over the fence unless you have taken care of yourself first. And if you're in a really bad situation, or a relationship, marriage, a really bad job even, then do whatever it takes right away to get out of it. Don't put it off. Don't keep putting it off. Don't keep doing it, financial or not. You can always make more money. You can't get back more time. Take it from me. Take it from me. You can't get back more time. You got one life. Live it well. Live it well. And I don't mean by the wealthy part of it. That's fine. It's wonderful. If you can be successful within yourself and then successful in life and have money and enjoy it, beautiful. Just don't get lost in it. Don't get lost in that lawn that's built there either. Life's tough. Every day. Every day. Don't get comfortable. Been there too. So the grass isn't always greener, and sometimes it is. Learn to maintain and build the lawn. Maintain that grass. Make it shine. Make it as green, and I love it. You go through nice neighborhoods and you see the grass always as green and beautiful in yards. It's a nice thing. And even the smell of fresh cut grass is nice, right? Yeah. Life is way too short. And I know people say that, but until it takes a wake-up call, either somebody dies that you know, or your own life could possibly come to a fast halt, abrupt stop. Do you really learn to appreciate it? And I mean little things, just walking outside and breathing fresh air, or looking up at the stars, or just spending time with the person that you do really love. And that includes spending time with yourself. That's the main person you should really love, as I said. Learn to spend time with yourself, peaceful time with yourself. What makes you happy, do it. Because it is too short. And you never know when your number's up. So don't stay in bad situations, including your own bad situation within yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. We all are here to learn. We are all here to be happy. That's what we were created for. To be happy, to learn, to help others. And no matter who you are, or how you look, or how much money you have, it doesn't matter. We're all the same as far as who we are. We are all created equal. And don't let anybody ever tell you any differently, because you are special. Don't ever let anybody put you down. Or if you believe that or you're told that growing up, you are special. We are all special. Everyone is special. Everyone has a purpose. Live it. Find it. Be it. And then you'll be able to not have to worry about jumping fences at all. Thank you for watching. And as I ask, if I've helped you in any way, or this has touched you in any way, please share it, please like it, please comment on it. The show means a lot to me. And as I've stated, I'm going to be telling my life story by videography. In other words, it's something I've come up with. I didn't write a book. I was in the process of writing a book. I didn't finish it because I don't want to. I'm not a writer. I'd rather tell you face to face, and this is face to face to me. When I can tell the world something, that's face to face, and that's real, and I'm a real person, and I want you to be real in your life, and I want you to know what it is to be real and to have that peace. Being at peace is being yourself, no matter what anybody else thinks, no matter what anybody else thinks, and don't let anybody interfere with your green lawn when you have that peace. That includes the neighbor's dog coming over, you know what I mean, lifting his leg, peeing on your yard. Nah. Once you're at peace, nothing can interfere with that. Trust me when I tell you. And that's the key to success, is peace within oneself. Serious peace within oneself. And don't fool yourself. If you don't have it, get it. Find it. Look within yourself. Don't harbor grudges. Don't harbor hate. Don't harbor ill feelings. And I just got something that I found out this week, that I could be holding some serious hate against some serious people because it's affecting my life. Seriously affecting my life, my well-being, my health. And I can be really angry about it and harbor those bad feelings, or I can be positive about it and look at, okay, how can I survive this? Yes. How can I make it help someone else from what has happened to me with my health and my situation? And I've already planned on it. I've decided that once this gets stabilized, that I'm going to do that, to educate other people on what's medically happened to me. And it's not in the major groups of, major diseases. It's actually rare, pretty rare. So, and it's not contagious or anything like that. It has to do with me, and it has to do because of the things that I went through in my life. My near fatal auto accident is the trigger for it. So, but that's a whole nother story. My point of it is that take a bad situation and turn it into a positive one. Never let it get you down. Never. And remember, you're special. Remember, you're supposed to be happy. You're not supposed to be miserable. Your grass isn't supposed to be brown. It's supposed to be green. And if you do find it greener really find it greener on the other side, then jump the fence. But make sure it truly is greener before you jump it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I have to say I've received close to 100 emails and messages from people that they watch me and they're happy and that I've helped them in some way. That means the world to me. That means the world to me. If I can help one person, that's everything to me. But helping many, that's even more. Good night. God bless. And thank you again.